Hello everyone and welcome to Blaugrana Everything and welcome back to the channel and welcome to a match review for FC Barcelona's quite narrow victory over Deportivo Alaves. The game ending 1-0 courtesy of that man Robert Lewandowski, who once again is the difference between Barca and Alaves this season. He scored a hat-trick earlier in the season for Barca to win 3-0, and this time around I guess he could only manage the one. And it was all Barcelona really needed on a day that Alaves really didn't threaten much. And yeah, it was on a day because this was one of those early kickoffs, the ones where Barcelona have suffered so much. Okay, so anyway, if it's your first time tuning in here in a match review, what I usually do is I'll give you my negatives and positives, and then go ahead and do some ratings for the players, or rather for the team and the manager, before picking a man of the match. So if you're new here, please do take note of that, and also feel free to leave your feedback in the comments, to do some of those like and subscribe kind of things, yeah, as we are pushing for 10k and we're almost there, guys. We're so close, we are so close. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and look at some negatives. And really, there was just a couple of negatives I had in this one. The first one has got to be the referees. Honestly speaking, explain to me how Alaves ended this match with just a 1 yellow card and Barca ended with like 6, despite the fact that Alaves committed way more fouls than Barca, and honestly should have had multiple players booked for persistent fouling. But somehow that didn't happen. Just the 1 yellow card. And it was really too blatant to not be yellow cards, but there were quite a few as well that fell into that category. But somehow this referee just was blind to all of that. And that's really what was key to Barcelona's failure to find a rhythm in this game, because Alaves just kept on fouling and fouling and fouling. And the referee was just cool to let it all go. He was watching it all happen, except for when a Barcelona player remonstrated or, just made what looked like a standard tackle, in which case the yellow cards come out. Anywho, that's that for that. The second negative from this, I think, is of course the fact that Barcelona did struggle to get into any sort of rhythm. It's so interesting when you look at teams like Leganés, like Las Palmas, like Alaves. You see how they played against Barca, watch back these tapes, see how they played at Barcelona's home ground, and then look where they are on the table. And you wonder, why are these teams struggling so much? The three of them combined at Barcelona's home have conceded less goals than Real Madrid at their home, right? In fact, the three of them combined, home and away, have conceded so far this season less goals to Barcelona than Real Madrid has so far. We've scored 9 times against Real. We've only scored 5 times against these 3 teams, okay? Across 4 matches against Leganés, Deportivo, and Las Palmas, only 4 goals. Or is it 5 goals? Only 5 goals. Honestly speaking, you wonder why they're in that situation, but for this time around, it really had more to do with Barca just not building up any kind of rhythm. And we've explained why that happened. It's because there was so much fouling going on. Whenever Barca would try to do anything, the player would get fouled, and they'd fall back into their shape. So hopefully in future, the referees can do their job a little bit better and help us have a more concise game. I don't know how it's said. Anyway, positives from this was, finally a clean sheet for Szczesny. Finally, he didn't make a horrible error that had you wondering what he smoked. Was it really a cigarette, Szczesny? Was it? Anyhow, this time around he kept his clean sheet, and that was good for Barcelona. And of course, the fact that Barcelona have won now 2 on the trot in La Liga, something they have not done in well over 2 months of actively playing football in La Liga. And that's a crazy stat. Crazy stat. Anyway, let's move on now and look at the team rating and the manager rating. I mean, for the team, there was nothing really special here. I mean, sure, you did have one or two standout performances, I felt, but as a whole, pretty underwhelming performance, I should say, from the team. I was honestly at halftime thinking this would be more drop points if I was to be completely honest with you. So I wasn't too impressed. It's a 5.5 out of 10. Okay, they kept a clean sheet. It's a 6 out of 10 for me in this performance. And as for the manager as well, there were a few things that you wondered why he did the way that he did. Why did Lewandowski and Lamine Yamal stay on the pitch for the entirety of the match? Why did we not see more minutes for the likes of Pablo Torre, who can be useful against these teams that are, tightly packed? So it's a 6 out of 10 as well for Hansi Flick, really, without saying too much. I wasn't too impressed by what he did this time around, to just, be completely honest and to be frank with all of you. I think he could have done better here, especially with his subs. Of course, the first one was enforced, Gavi with that head collision, which, I think that was fine. But maybe that's where I know Fermin was pretty good against Valencia. But, that should have been his reason to start against Atalanta. And he didn't start then. So this time around, he really should have brought on Pablo Torre, because I just think he offers more creativity. He's, he's a bit more like an attacking version of Pedri. And in as much as I love Fermin and how much energy he brings, he's not the best when he has too much pressure on him, or when he's playing in congested spaces. He thrives more when there's a bit more space to turn around and to play. You saw that later on after Barca scored their first goal. So, that's my criticisms for Hansi Flick on this one. Make better subs, because honestly, on a different day, I think like better subs like Ferran for Lewandowski and Torre for Gavi could have given Barcelona a lot more freedom and in attack, that is, and also they could have scored a lot more goals. Anywho, enough of all that. Let's talk about the man of the match. And this time around, I'm going to go with Lamine Yamal, just because he was really at the heart of everything good that happened for Barca in this game. Yeah, he was basically the reason why Barca scored. It was his sort of, cross-gun shot that found Lewandowski and led to the only goal of the game. But, having said that, I should give some honorable mentions to Pau Cubarsí and to Pedri as well. I felt that both of them were pretty good on the day as well. They helped Barcelona in some situations. And I mean, Cubarsí was just intercepting everything, especially after Araujo came off. He really took the mantle of, being the more aggressive centre-back between him and Eric Garcia, which, of course, he is the more aggressive centre-back. He's probably a bit almost as aggressive as that, I would say. But yeah, so, honorable mentions to Cubarsí and to Pedri, but another match this time around goes to Lamine Yamal, and that is basically that, guys. I will see you all soon. Barcelona, their reward, of course, for beating Alaves in what was a tricky test is going to be a trip away to the Mestalla, playing at Valencia in the Supercopa. Hopefully that goes well. In the Copa del Rey, I beg your pardon. Hopefully it goes well. And their reward after that, should they succeed, is going to be another El Clasico in the semi-final, most likely. So, looking forward to that. And of course, after that, Barcelona still have to worry about a trip to Sevilla next week. And so, it's really all happening for Barcelona in February. They might not have any Champions League commitments during this month, but it's really going to be a make or break time for them in as far as all the other competitions, the Copa del Rey and the La Liga trophies that are at stake for them. So I will be here with you for all of those matches, to talk about them afterwards. And I'll try and work on some extra content, but the turnaround between matches right now, it's so short, I can't really focus on my scripting, all of that, but I will work on it. Okay? So aside from that, I thank you all for tuning in. Do have a great day, and Forza Barca.